This time of night, I think I'll go with our, sort of in the mode of a great Rhode Island tradition, which is have you heard of the short attention span theater? So I'll probably try to keep my poems fairly short and flowing. You don't need to feel like you need to applaud between. And at the end of my set, we'll have a musical surprise. Thank you all for coming. Jan has mentioned and written in one of her own Origami chapbooks a line, and I love it. The chapbook is titled Wonder, and her line is, "There is no preparation for wonder." And the poems that Tom and Helen read was just so wonderful for their sense of, forget locationality, but place, and places that beckon us forward, and places that pull us back and keep pulling and keep pulling. We can always return to them. The dancing room, the canoe ride with your father is just fabulous. Thank you. I want to dedicate tonight's set to girls. I have some friends in the audience, and there's some young, their daughters, Sylvie, Isabella, and Jocelyn isn't here, but could be and should be.
She's here.
Yes, she is. Are going off to college, or going on to their adventures, are going to have a passport to the world, and are going to find wonder. So I thought I would like to dedicate to girls and the adventures of girls on trains, in castles on clouds, in water. And I hope that, in speaking of water, femininity, liquid, be kind to the bartender. I want to bring plenty of liquid here. Just a quick aside is that one thing I've been thinking about lately and reading about in the wonderful writings of Anne Carson, the idea that from antiquity, femininity has been associated with that quality of water and liquidity, as in not solid, as in messed up boundaries, as in prone to drowning, sometimes dangerous. So I'm just musing on that a little bit, and I want to bring plenty of liquid and hydrate this room. My first poem will be, though, my own adventure at the immortal age of 16, when my brain changed. I was in England. I was on a high school trip abroad. It was my 16th birthday. I left the group. They didn't miss me. And I wanted to have an adventure, so I took a train. Destination unknown. I did get off in a town, and I saw my first castle. Arundel, England. And I've never stopped searching for, well, never mind that. This poem, there's no castle in the poem, and there's no discernible country, really, but you can take the castle out of a poem, the things out of a poem, but you can't take the castle out of the girl and the searcher. Passport, 1972. That dark green train in late April, horsehair seats and sweet tobacco. The undercarriage rocking, slow at first, side to side, then builds to a hurdle, and we're off, rolling through sunlight toward the frontier crossing. I still feel the music of the iron grating, the shuddering acceleration. I was turning 16, adding an engine, all rumble and jerk. 2-storied windows, exuberant bells. Turning 16, one girl gone, another switching places with me at the crossing. I still taste the tang of cheese between crusts, see the flash of Blue Lake water. Sausage stands with orange awnings, the pensioners in their gardens sunning, cows tearing at the grass, the crush of wool coats and luggage on the platform. Whenever I board that tall train in my mind, clutching my ticket stub, smelling like bacon from the tall conductor's fingers, watching another train passing, leathery faces peer out windows, seem to whisper, "Come with us, the world is this way." April Kestrel. I dive from a plane into air. A kestrel soars alongside. The day is all mother of pearl and ripples. Why do I feel so for this bird, his curveball world of vaster space and intimate gravity? I'm just a body unlearning itself, one leap, weightless, and the axis of the world tips her wings. I sip a martini. You talk about notes, A minor seventh and playing the frets. I'm looking at your tight denim, orange threads, steel rivets. Something hard in my throat. I study your knee swung improvisationally over the bar stool. I swallow and surface, pianissimo, to two olives with pimento, side by side, Adam and Eve, on a toothpick floating high above the gin. I'm all about resurrection. I know Catholic resurrection. I know liquid resurrection. I would like to introduce a short Providence suite of poems. This is set in the second location of the Met Cafe, which is right around the corner. Ringo, What Am I Living For? That year of stray jobs, the year I felt irrelevant, I got interested in canine dermatology. One night at the Met Cafe, leaning on a lolly column akimbo to the stage, listening to a country grunge singer sing about the general idea of a goal in life. Anyway, that's what I read into the lyric of White Roses appliqued across his dingy satin shirt, 3 bottom snaps undone, pouty belly popping out, the rest of him jagger thin, all liquored up, humping the mic stand, crooning, "I'm so lonely, I almost want you back." Flo the bar dog ambles back and forth in front of the stage, one haunch mangy, the other hairless from lying in swill. I lean a little straighter, more awake to life's possibilities. Canine dermatology. I call Flo over for a scratch, but she's gone off with the bouncer. I light up in bars, get ideas like Ringo. Who knew he'd composed more songs than Lennon McCartney? The problem was, he said, he couldn't read his own handwriting in the morning. Me, I'd kill for that collection. That's what canine dermatology must be like, a shot at resurrection, the chance to dig Flo's dew claw, hooked and ingrown, out of her leg, see tears of gratitude fill her brown bedroom eyes. Crumb count. The old bird dog stands her ground before the cupboard, toenails gripping, stick legs splayed out over scratched linoleum. She lowers her muzzle, the color of lumpy Oreos in milk, to nuzzle for droppings from Mother Hubbard's treats. Though never gentle with cookies, she'd always been tidy. Now she leaves half behind. She's an old girl. I can't count her years exactly, but I can count the crumbs. Picking up again on the Providence Suite. The poem is titled On Empire Street. Whoever doesn't know Empire Street, well, the avant-garde arts and good restaurants now have almost displaced the strip clubs. But it's our holy grail of a street in Providence, I think. Empire Street. After dinner at Bravo of monkfish and a $50 unoaked Chablis, I park at the curb this scorching night to blow another 50 up my nose. When I see a guy through my window stagger over, scabs on his lips, clenched fists for eyes, I slipped the lines, the mirror, and rolled up dollar bill under my thigh, locking the door as he lurches over it, yelling, "Hey, can you give me some quarters? Just 2 quarters is all. I need a bus so I can go home. I just got out of the hospital." I can't recall exactly, but I think I yelled back at him something like, "Could you just stop goddamn yelling at me?" What should I have done? If I thought he had a job, if he wasn't standing ankle deep in empties, if his wounds weren't fresh out of years of mistakes, if his heart was unruined, if he wasn't a junkie, if he looked anything like me, if he looked anything like Jesus, if a cross on a hill, if lightning forked the sky, if passers-by weren't staring, if only my car window was painted black, but then it would turn into a mirror, and who needs that? Nocturne. It's the way the street corners whisper and the taillights answer as the tall girl, the one with the habit, slips into the alley and doors shut before winter lets the cold in. I'm really going to switch gears here. Thanks for listening. My father was a laborer, telephone man, and had the gift of compassion. And it was always a corrective for me. He came home from his job as a telephone man in the Blackstone Valley, and he every day would have stories that just showed us the bounty of humor and humanity that was out there in the daily grind in all his encounters. He respected girls' adventures too. He taught me how to climb trees, but more importantly, how to climb back down. And in the 60s, he taught us how to run away, but be safe and come back. So I've had the pleasure of putting about 3 dozen of his stories from the road down in the book Telephone Man into free verse. Just a sample of his voice here. A limit to service. Ma'am, why do you want me to take my shoes off? Even in my own house, I don't take off my shoes. Besides, they're clean, and I'm just doing your inside repair. I won't be dragging dirt in, so no, I can't take off my shoes. I'll call my boss, have him send somebody else out to do the job. The new guy might take off his shoes. Iron lung. When I walked in the living room, I heard a racket even before I saw her laying there in the tube, her head sticking out one end, sealed off around the neck with a rubber gasket. It sounded like a machine shop, the way the pumps and compressors drown everything out. So when I heard, "Hello," I jumped, then felt so bad it must have been an effort for her. She must have seen me first in the mirror tilted over her head before I saw her. As I remember, she was 45 or 50. I've often thought about that lady and wished I'd hung around and talked to her. I guess she could talk. I was installing her phone, but maybe she wouldn't want to. I could have found out, I suppose, ask her if she wanted anything. I remember I was thinking, and I'm not kidding, maybe someone could bring her some earplugs. There is a play by Tennessee Williams, and it's really short, and you should read it before you go to bed tonight. It's really short. It's a torch play. It is achingly beautiful. Called talk to me like the rain and let me listen. So, in the grand manner of riffing, small city midnight. In the small city midnight, don't speak to me of providence. Sing to me like the rain and let me listen. Green. Green, I slept with boys, needing an even wilder green, believing my breath should merge with theirs, and that's what was done after sex, to sleep. So I'd lie there still, listening to them breathe, easy, abundant, next to my hesitant quiver. But our rhythms never matched, so I held my breath to let them breathe. Transfixed, I'd watch them sleep like babies and lie awake, intent to other sounds. The moth at the screen, the 4 a.m. breeze. Shh, the sound of no sound, and I there, the listening. And just one more, and I mean, really, Pete, you could come up now to end our set, not the set, but as he's getting set up. My husband, Pete, it will be accompanying on guitar the last poem I'm doing. Hey, Pete.
Hey.
Hey, Pete. Were you in the room when Jan was describing the gizmo, the doodad, the jig? It's amazing, yeah. And we love it. We love being part of the Origami Poems Project. While we're getting set up. In fact, I learned something the other day. Let me just ask you to write a poem with me. Okay. Don't you love group things? Okay. Mouth the word colorful. Mouth the word colorful, just mouth it. Now mouth the words, I love you. Tomorrow morning when you do that in the mirror, you're a poet, you already are, but you've got a new poem. It's the same mouth feeling. Sylvia Plath said, poetry is words, mouthful of words with meaning. Poetry is mouthfuls of sound with meaning. The last piece before Pete, Hunger Moon, sounds like a proverb or song I once heard about how people should be in love most of the time. Grateful for ways the body responds in moonlight, native or amplified. Our piece here is Whenever I Hear Neil Young. It's a tribute to Neil Young's music, but more locally, it is inspired by our great tribute band here in Rhode Island, the Forever Young Band.
Three keys on pretty well on a little stand here. Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor come, saying something about a queen. There were peasants singing and drummers drumming, and the archers split the tree. There was a fanfare blowing to the sun that was floating on the breeze.
Whenever I hear Neil Young, it's always a country fair after sunset. The lights of rides turning on one by one, twinkling in harmony with the watermelon sky, spilling sugar pink into clouds, jet, gold, silver-lined. It's shooting stars, still hurricane time, approaching autumn, a fork in the road. Couples rise in the sky on the turning wheel. Others tilt and whirl through calliope music. Under the tent, the band plays, all Neil Young. Some drift away. She wants to stay and dance. He wants to slip between the parked cars down to the river, lay in goldenrod blaze.
I was lying in a burned out basement with the full moon in my eyes. I was hoping for replacement when the sun burst through the sky. There was a band playing in my head, and I felt like getting high.
Upstream, downstream, trickles of laughter, tambourines, and everybody's 20 and dreaming of that mountain where songs disarm and blood turns to wine and war is as gone as summer's milkweed floating past the latitudes.
Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships flying in the yellow haze of the sun. There were children crying and colors flying all around the chosen one. All in a dream, all in a dream, the loading had begun. Flying over nature's silver sea to a new home in the sun. Flying over nature's silver sea to a new home in the sun.
America, your Virgil of northern skies, your Cupid in plaid. Neil smiles over the scene from his castle on a cloud, at the pastoral, the hormonal, the colors and countercolors, the lovers on their rides hooked out to stars, this one turning, that one coming round. Music swirling, girls girling round young knights jamming on air guitar, leaning on their denim, leaning on their cars, wooing cinnamon knees and paisley flowers to the torn patchwork Bibles of their jeans. America, your drummers are drumming, your guitars are playing, your archers are singing, your harmonies rise, curve, and like archers' arrows fall in a single rain. What is harmony but near collision? Sweet swerve, then a spin into alignment. Notes held as the body wishes to be, pulled by the moon through amplified air along the curve of the earth in tremolo. A guitar turned on edge like a wing, or the tail of a comet swept behind by speed. America, I wonder, will you? How in the world will you hold the parts together when the castle is primal and the mortar is sugar and the sugar is loosening and we're all just a bunch of kids?